Part 20. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 191. Ye Chen hugged Luo Hongjian and said with a smile, Hongjian, I won't let you run away. You go to court first, and I will talk to you in detail about this matter when you come back. Luo Hongjian nodded lightly. When Ye Chen held her, she didn't want to go to court, but she was the emperor and it was her responsibility. Luo Hongjian came back 2 or 3 hours later. Hongjian, you should know something about divine descending techniques. Ye Chen said while playing chess with Luo Hongjian. Luo Hongjian nodded lightly. There were many of these a long time ago. Divine descending techniques include different types, including those that use treasures to descend, those that use blood to descend, and those that directly use clones to break through the world to descend. Ye Chen, are you saying that this has reappeared? Luo Hongjian looked solemn. If this happens, the rules of heaven and earth may gradually change, and the strong men who left may also return. Do you know the secret of eternal life? Luo Hongjian said, when the rules of heaven and earth changed, there were rumors that the new world might have the secret to eternal life. So a large number of strong people left. Ye Chen was stunned, and he said slowly, I killed a person, and a strong man came to her through the divine descending technique. Her cultivation at the level of the Yang God suddenly increased to the 5th level of the Great Emperor. But the time she can last is short at the moment. Luo Hongjian's face changed slightly. This is already very strong. Even if the duration is short, if you are not strong enough and encounter such a strong person, you will be killed instantly. When the strong fight, life and death often happen in an instant. Play hundreds or thousands of rounds, very few. She said she came from the Holy Demon Realm. The powerful people in the Holy Demon Realm have not yet found the secret of eternal life, and they believe that the secret of eternal life lies in our original realm. Luo Hongjian's eyes showed surprise. The secret of eternal life actually lies in this world? This world is much weaker. Hongjian, you are the emperor of Tianyuan dynasty, and you are very talented. It is normal for strong people to want to come and control you. Don't worry too much. Speaking of this, 2 jade bottles appeared in Ye Chen's hand. Hongjian, these 2 jade bottles contain the God King level Tiandao pill and the God Emperor level Tiandao pill respectively. One pill should be able to elevate you to a higher level. Try taking 3 pills. More may not have any effect. Ye Chen smiled. Luo Hongjian looked at the pill bottle that Ye Chen took out in surprise. Even a God King level Tiandao pill is worth a lot of money. I just want 3. Put away the excess. Luo Hongjian said. Ye Chen chuckled and said, take all the beauty and give it to the right person to win some people's hearts. You know my situation, I don't need to do this at all. Have saint level strength to win over people's hearts? Doesn't exist. Those who obey will prosper, those who go against will perish, it's that simple. Then I'm not welcome. Luo Hongjian thought about it for a moment and put it away. They were husband and wife, there was no need to see each other outside. At the end of the round, Luo Hongjian left quickly. She quickly gave 3 of the God King level Tiandao pills to En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian each. Natasha and Nangongning also received a God King level Tiandao pill. Entering the training room, Luo Hongjian took a God Emperor level Tiandao pill. Boom! The phoenix sacred bone in Luo Hongjian's body immediately began to frantically devour and absorb the power of the Tiandao pill. It would take an ordinary God Emperor level figure to digest a Tiandao pill in 2 to 3 months. Luo Hongjian secretly estimated that she might be able to digest one in half a month. At this rate, I can reach the 6th level of the God Emperor in a month. It's amazing. Luo Hongjian thought to herself. Inside Fengming Palace, Pei Wei was the first to sign the master-servant contract. After signing this thing, unless Pei Wei is stronger than Ye Chen, it is impossible for him to betray Ye Chen, and he will not even have the thought of betrayal in his heart. In addition, after signing this, it will be extremely difficult for other strong people to hypnotize Pei Wei. Let's forget it with Yao Jingguo. Ye Chen thought about it and gave up signing the master-servant contract with Yao Jingguo. He only had the first level of cultivation of the Great Emperor, and his potential was basically just like this. The master-servant contract scroll that can bind the 5th level powerful emperor is a bit wasteful to use on him. If Eunuch Lu comes out alive, he can get one. There are many demons in the demon suppression tower that were originally at the semi-saint level, or even at the saint level. If Eunuch Lu devours a lot of them, his natural strength will definitely be greatly enhanced. Xiao Suanzi, practice well. Ye Chen gave Pei Wei an emperor-level Tiandao pill. He has 4 in total. Using the third one can still have a good effect, but there is no need to use all 4 on yourself. It would be pretty good if Pei Wei, the 4th level of the Great Emperor, could reach the 5th level of the Great Emperor. Time passes day by day. Ye Chen was excited. The day when Luo Hongjian's filial piety ends is getting closer and closer, and she will soon be able to sleep with her daughter-in-law. Day 9. Boom. Wild power surged inside Ye Chen's body, and his cultivation finally reached the 7th level of the Great Emperor. System, without using the immortal killing sword, etc., do I have the strength of a semi-saint level now? Ye Chen asked in his mind. He looked forward to it very much. If he already has the strength of the semi-saint level without using powerful treasures, he can equip the 4 swords of Zhu Xian instead of simply keeping the sword of Zhu Xian like now. As long as the Zuxian sword formation is deployed, Ye Chen will not be afraid even if the master of Juxiao Pavilion is full of semi-sage strength. Host, you have the saint-level yin-yang holy body, the saint-level Qin Bible, and the saint-level holy sword code, but there is a big gap between the 9th level of the Great Emperor and the half-holy level. Not counting the dragon armor, immortal killing sword, holy hidden cloak, etc., your combat power is still a little short of that of a half-saint. Ye Chen sighed secretly. He knew this was the case. There is no way, the gap between the 9th level of the Great Emperor and the level of the semi-saint is indeed a bit big. System, do I have the strength of the late half-saint? A little bit. Ye Chen. This one is actually a little bit worse, a little sad. But he also has an emperor-level Tiandao pill. Ye Chen felt that this thing was still effective for him. It is unlikely that he will reach the 8th level of the Great Emperor, but it will definitely make him stronger. By then, maybe you will have the strength of the late half-saint. System, use the last emperor-level heavenly Dao pill. Ye Chen secretly thought. The Tiandao pill was used immediately. His cultivation level was still improving very quickly, but the effect was much worse. The second one is about 90% as effective as the first one. This third one dropped to only 50%. The 3 emperor-level Tiandao pills can save Ye Chen about 10 months in total. If the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion knew that Ye Chen had improved so quickly and that Ye Chen had the strength of a mid-level semi-saint, he would never have given Ye Chen the emperor-level heavenly Dao pill. Even the God King and God Emperor level Tiandao pills will not be given to him. He will kill Ye Chen with all his strength. Tisk, tisk, there are only 5 days left for the beauty to keep her mourning. Ye Chen was basking in the sun, feeling happy. The Tiandao pill he just used in 5 days will definitely be able to be digested, and by then his strength should be able to reach the late semi-saint stage. Double happiness. System, the strength of the powerful people in the holy demon realm is much more powerful than that in the original realm, which means that the treasures in the holy demon realm are also much more powerful. The immortal killing sword is only at the saint level. Ye Chen asked secretly. It was just that I didn't know that there were a lot of more powerful people in the holy demon realm, but now I knew that Ye Chen was a little unhappy. After all, the immortal killing sword and so on are the treasures in the original myth, so don't you want to show off? The system is silent. System, please explain, otherwise I will be idle and I will talk about you all day long. Host, you are a real dog. The host, the Ruyi golden cudgel, the Xuanhuan sword, etc. are all genuine products, but the planes are different, and the laws of the planes suppress their power. Their current power is only 1/10,000th to 1/1,000,000th. The host can use plane tokens to increase their power in the future. Ye Chen frowned secretly. System, if I use the enhancement card, can it increase the power? The system quickly had an explanation. Host, the strengthening card can only strengthen one realm, S level can only be strengthened to SS level. It is impossible to use SSS level strengthening card and then be strengthened to SSS level. Plane order has no such restrictions, it mainly depends on how powerful the original treasure is. Ye Chen suddenly realized. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 192. System, how many of my current items can be improved using plane tokens? Ye Chen asked. This is very important. The 4 swords of killing immortals, Ruyi golden cudgel, 89 mysterious skills, Qiyu armor, demon refining pot, and the phoenix holy bones owned by Xuanhuan. Ye Chen. The 89 mysterious skills and Qiyu's armor were actually among them. But the Qincan Bible and the dragon armor are not among them. System, Qincan Bible and Shenlong armor, right? Ye Chen asked. They are obtained by strengthening the 89 mysterious technique and Qiyu's armor. No, in the future, the host can use the plane order to unblock and upgrade the 89 mysterious skills and Qiyu armor, or sign in to get better rewards. Ye Chen shook his head secretly. There was a plane order, how could he use it on this? Excluding these 2, there are only the Ruyi golden cudgel, the 4 swords of killing immortals, and the demon refining pot. And the phoenix holy bones given to Xuanhuan. To be honest, Ye Chen didn't expect that the sacred bones of the phoenix were actually real phoenix bones. The most worthy of using the plane token is naturally the 4 swords of Xuanhuan. This limit should be the highest. System, you performed well today. I feel much more comfortable knowing that the Xuanhuan sword will be improved in time. Ye Chen praised secretly. System. System, how about giving me a plane token so I can experience it? The system was silent and ignored Ye Chen. Inside the Purple Dragon Palace, Lu Qianqian and An Langxiu broke through successively and reached the 5th level of God King and the 7th level of God King respectively. They digest it very quickly, and both of them have saint-level skills. Xuanhuan's cultivation level is high and she hasn't made a breakthrough yet. Qianqian, we propose to His Majesty that the 2 of us move out of the Purple Dragon Palace and live in the same palace. What do you think? An Langxiu asked. Lu Qianqian nodded lightly. An Lan, actually I have had this idea for a long time. If we stay here in the Purple Dragon Palace, it will be inconvenient for the Empress to come, and we will affect the Empress. Lu Qianqian and An Langxiu were extremely grateful to Ye Chen. Their feelings for Ye Chen have deepened. It's just that Ye Chen is the emperor and they are the imperial concubines, so they can only hide their feelings in their hearts. Soon Lu Qianqian and An Langxiu found Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan agreed to their request. Lu Qianqian and An Langxiu were placed in a palace very close to Fengming Palace, Jinggran Palace. Fengming Palace is the palace of the emperor and harem. Jinggran Palace is the imperial concubine palace, and its location is very good. Lu Qianqian and An Langxiu were the imperial concubines. It was impossible for others to gossip about them when they lived in Jinggran Palace. It's okay for the 2 of them to move out, he. Ye Chen's eyes lit up when he got the news. They were in the Purple Dragon Palace. If he slept there, it would be bad. Xiao Lu, please pay attention to the situation at Jinggran Palace. Ye Chen ordered. The closest place in Jinggran Palace is less than 100 meters away from Fengming Palace, and the location of the companion Zhenliu is only 300 to 400 meters away from the place wherein Langxiu and the others sleep and practice. This distance companion Zhenliu has the strength of a semi-saint. The companion Zhenliu can also help in Langxiu and the others practice, so they can practice faster. The Empress, Concubine Lan, Concubine Ro, they are here. Xuanhuan reported. Ye Chen chuckled and said, let them come in. And Langxiu and the others changed places, so they had to come over and say something to Ye Chen. In addition, they also had to thank Ye Chen. Their Tiandao pill was brought out by Ye Chen. Meet the Emperor and Empress. And Langxiu and Lu Qianqian went to the backyard and saluted. With their improved cultivation, the appearance of the two women has improved slightly. Compared with the first time I entered Fengming Palace, the improvement was quite obvious. The Juxiao beauty list will be updated soon, and their rankings are likely to rise. Ye Chen chuckled and said, En Lan, Qianqian, there is no need to be polite. Your cultivation levels have improved again, which is very good. Practice well and don't think too much. In the future, Hanjian can remove you from your position as imperial concubine, and you can leave the palace and regain your freedom. And Langxiu and Lu Qianqian's expressions changed slightly. They have no objection to not becoming the imperial concubine, but they do not want to leave and hope to be Ye Chen's maid again in the future. Yes, Empress. And Langxiu and Lu Qianqian said in unison. They didn't say what they were thinking at the moment. They would mention it later when they are stronger. And Langxiu and the others left quickly. At night, Ye Chen suddenly received a message from the companion god Lu that a strong man was approaching Jingran Palace. The opponent's great emperor's 9th level cultivation. Nightingale. Ye Chen quickly knew who was coming over. The other person was the girl in black from Juxiao Pavilion. I didn't look for them before. They just came here after moving to Jingran Palace. Isn't it convenient to go to Purple Dragon Palace? Ye Chen secretly thought. This is very possible. The Purple Dragon Palace is the residence of emperors from past dynasties, and has accumulated a large amount of emperor's energy. The emperor's energy is very harmful to demons, and may even cause demons to reveal their true colors. Soon the nightingale entered Jingran Palace. Ye Chen didn't stop him. With him and the companion Shen Lu secretly providing protection, it would be impossible for the other party to kill En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. My cultivation has improved so much. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian did not practice tonight. The two women slept together and talked about private topics through voice transmission. The nightingale came to them, but they did not notice it. Nightingale was surprised. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian's cultivation levels have improved a lot, and their appearance and temperament have significantly improved. When Lu Qianqian entered the palace, she didn't have the cultivation of God King level, but now she has reached the 5th level of God King, and Langxiu only had the cultivation of God King level 3 at that time, but now she has reached the 7th level of God King. Taking into account their cultivation, appearance, and their current status, they can be ranked 2nd or 3rd. Nightingale thought to herself, she came for the 9 Heavens beauty list. The ranking of the 9 Heavens beauty list was set by her. Her aesthetics is similar to that of humans, and the aesthetics of the 9 Heavens Pavilion Master are a world apart from that of humans. Without doing much, Nightingale checked and left quickly. She didn't know that her whereabouts were exposed. The next day, the 9 Heavens beauty list was updated. Empress, the 9 Heavens beauty list has been updated. Xuanhuan said excitedly early in the morning. Ye Chen glanced at Xuanhuan and said teasingly, Xuanhuan, you are so excited, are you on the list? How can I reach the Emperor and Empress? Xuanhuan pouted. The 4 of them were already the top beauties in Ye Chen's previous life, but there are more people in this world, and their appearance is generally higher because of cultivation. Empress, your Majesty's ranking is still 1st. The rankings of Concubine Lan and Concubine Ro have been improved. They are now 2nd and 3rd respectively. Ye Chen's eyes flashed. Given the situation of An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian, this ranking is not false. But Juxiao Pavilion set such a ranking, which may be intentional to stir up trouble, further provoke conflicts, and the possibility of a world war in the future is even higher. After the morning court, Luo Hongjian arrived at Fengming Palace. Ye Chen, En Lan, and Qianqian are second and third on the Juxiao beauty list respectively. Do you regret it? Luo Hongjian chuckled. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 193. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian. His wife dared to tease him. I regret it so much. If I listened to you and took them down, wouldn't the top 3 on the Juxiao beauty list belong to me? Ye Chen laughed. Luo Hongjian rolled her eyes at Ye Chen. Ye Chen, I still give you a chance now. En Lan and Qianqian are probably willing to do it. Why don't you go to their place tonight? Ye Chen sighed secretly. He couldn't beat his wife. He had to take action. Ye Chen hugged Luo Hongjian and kissed her. After a few minutes, Luo Hongjian was a little breathless. Hongjian, let you be proud for a few more days. In a few days, you will know how powerful I am. Ye Chen said happily. Luo Hongjian's pretty face suddenly became redder. Ye Chen, En Lan, and Qianqian are ranked second and third on the Juxiao beauty list. What do you think? Ye Chen's expression became serious. Hongjian, this is definitely not a small problem. There are thousands of lustful strongmen in the entire Juxiao continent. Originally, they may be distributed throughout the Juxiao continent. Now many of them are likely to come to the Tianyang dynasty, which may bring all kinds of problems. The Tianyang dynasty is powerful, but some strongmen are bold and fearless. No matter how strong the Tianyang dynasty is, it is useless if they can't catch them. Even if there are strongmen targeting the royal family, can they be caught? Of course it's impossible. There are many strongmen at large. Ye Chen, no matter what happens, you must not take action at that time. If you expose your strength and let the Juxiao Pavilion master find out, you will be in big trouble. Luo Hongjian said solemnly. Ye Chen nodded slightly. There are a large number of strongmen in the Tianyang dynasty. Under normal circumstances, he doesn't need to take action. Luo Hongjian is busy now, and she left Ye Chen after staying here for a short time. A big city near the sea in the eastern part of Tianyang dynasty. A strong man from Qiandao country came here quietly. The strong man from Qiandao country who came here is called Xuanhuan, a strong man at the level of God Emperor, an old pervert, and there are countless girls who have suffered in his hands on the side of Qiandao country. In Xuanhuan's eyes, there is no home, no country. He became stronger just to satisfy his desires. Recently, Xuanhuan reached the 6th level of God Emperor, and he felt that he had reached the limit. If he wants to improve the magic skills he practices, he needs to practice with top beauties. The higher the other party's cultivation, the better. Originally, Xuanhuan had not planned to come to Tianyang dynasty at this time. Tianyang dynasty is powerful, and he is afraid of something happening here. But the Juxiao beauty list was updated, and An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian were actually ranked second and third respectively, which made Xuanhuan unable to bear it. He crossed the sea to Tianyang dynasty. Let's start the killing feast. Xuanhuan laughed strangely. He found many strong men in the city and hypnotized them. The strongest of these strong men reached the level of Yang Shen, and the weakest ones also had the strength of Xingai level. They did not act immediately. 2 hours later, Xuanhuan had left. A heavy rain completely wiped out the little traces of his presence here. Kill. On the street, A middle-aged strong man who was originally shopping with his family suddenly went crazy. He drew his sword and slashed out in an instant. This middle-aged man has the cultivation of Ning-Yang level, which is already a very good master. The dazzling sword light bloomed like a flower of death. Hundreds of people died on the street in an instant. The middle-aged man's wife and children also died under his sword. Ah! The surrounding voices of extreme fear rang out, and many people fled desperately. A cruel smile appeared in the eyes of the middle-aged man. Kill! There were no other Ning-Yang level strong men present, and the middle-aged man was like a tiger among sheep. In just half a minute, before the other strong men killed him, he had killed tens of thousands of people. However, the number of people he killed was not the most. The two hypnotized Yangshan level strong men killed more than 100,000 people, and ordinary people were like ants in front of them. Woo woo. Child, my child. Mom, Dad, wake up. The whole city was plunged into endless grief. This city is not small, with a population of more than 10 million. In just half a minute, more than 500,000 people died. The destructive power of powerful practitioners is too terrible. 500,000 people died, and countless families were affected. The whole city was crying. Asshole! A strong man at the level of God King rushed here and ended the killing here. The face of the God King who took action was extremely ugly. More than 500,000 people died, and basically so many people would die in a war with other countries. The news was reported quickly. After several transfers, the news reached Luo Hongjian's ears in less than 5 minutes. Ding Mo got the news and sent an urgent message to Luo Hongjian. At the same time, he hurried into the palace. Commander Ding, check, you must find the murderer for me. Luo Hongjian was furious. More than 500,000 people died, and they were ordinary people. This is a great provocation to the Tianyang dynasty. Yes. Ding Mo said in a deep voice. He was also very annoyed in his heart. The Jinyue people acted quickly. The spy department is now under control, and Ding Mo also mobilized the power of the spy department. The Tianyang dynasty has existed for more than 10,000 years, and the power of the spy department is very strong. About half an hour later, Ding Mo came to Luo Hongjian again. Your Majesty, according to our intelligence, it is very likely that Watanabe Chuan of the Thousand Islands did it. But we only know that Watanabe Chuan was a 4th-level divine emperor. We don't know his specific appearance or his soul breath. He also did a lot of evil in the Thousand Islands. Many strong men in the Thousand Islands once hunted him down, resulting in the death of millions of people, and the hunt ended in vain. He is good at hypnosis. Often when a big change happens in a place, he is no longer on that side. Luo Hongjian frowned. Any other information? Ding Mo said, Your Majesty, Watanabe Chuan is a demon of lust. Many girls died in his hands. I suspect that his actions this time are related to the update of the 9 Heavens Beauty List. In the past, there have been incidents when the 9 Heavens Beauty List was updated. Your Majesty, Watanabe Chuan's cultivation may have improved. He may have reached the 5th or 6th level of the Divine Emperor. It is difficult for us, the Jinyue, to find him and take him down. There are only a few dozen Divine Emperor level warriors in the entire Tianyang dynasty. Most of them are not as strong as the 5th or 6th level of the Divine Emperor. Among the Jinyue, the only one who dares to say that he can kill Watanabe Chuan is Ding Mo, the commander of the Jinyue. For the rest of the strong men, even those at the deputy commander level, it is difficult to kill Watanabe Chuan if they meet him. Luo Hongjian frowned secretly. People like Watanabe Chuan are extremely difficult to deal with. If he has a family or loves his country, it would be better. He can directly target the Thousand Islands. But Watanabe Chuan is simply a madman. He has killed at least 5 million people in the Thousand Islands. Investigate with all your strength. You don't have to kill him if you find him. Just clear his soul breath. Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice. Ding Mo nodded, yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, the Empress is very powerful. Should we talk to her about this matter? Luo Hongjian frowned, Commander Ding, if everything needs to be handled by the Empress, what use do I have for you? Hundreds of thousands of people died. Luo Hongjian was extremely angry, but she didn't want Ye Chen to take risks. And as she said, if something happened, Ye Chen would take action. What else do Ding Mo and others need to do? Your Majesty, the Empress is here. Just then Nangongning reported that Ye Chen entered the Purple Dragon Palace, and he didn't need Luo Hongjian's permission to come in. See the Empress. Ding Mo saluted. Luo Hongjian softened her expression and said, Ye Chen, why are you here? I still have some things to do here. Why don't you go back to Fengming Palace first, and I will come to you later. Commander Ding, what happened? Ye Chen asked. He noticed that Luo Hongjian was in a bad mood through the red dust rope. Ding Mo hesitated. Luo Hongjian said quickly, Ye Chen, there is nothing to do, Commander Ding, go and do your work. Ding Mo left quickly, and he wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was under a lot of pressure just now. Who should I listen to, His Majesty or the Empress? Normal, I must listen to Luo Hongjian, the Emperor, but Ye Chen, the Empress, is a powerful emperor. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 194. Hongjian, I know something big must have happened, just tell me directly. Otherwise, I can ask him if I send him a summons. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian and said solemnly. Luo Hongjian took a deep breath and said angrily, in Dongjiang City, there are strong men at the level of god emperors who hypnotize some people who are only at the highest level of Yangshen to kill like crazy. Over 500,000 dead. Ye Chen took a breath of cold air. 500,000 people died. Although such things have happened in the 18,000-year history of the Tianyang dynasty, and even more terrifying things have happened, such things are rare. On the one hand, if someone does something like this, the Tianyang dynasty will definitely investigate and pursue them with all their strength. On the other hand, it affects luck. Luck will affect practice, and strong people who still have room for improvement often don't kill at will. Hongjian, you still hide such a thing from me. Ye Chen was somewhat blaming. Luo Hongjian said solemnly, Ye Chen, you are the Emperor and Empress, such things are not your responsibility. If something big happens, you will need to step forward. If one day you are gone, where will the Nyoda dynasty go? With so many people dying over there, the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion is likely to pass by. If he knows your true strength, our Tianyang dynasty will have an even greater disaster. Ye Chen's expression softened a little. Luo Hongjian said so much, but actually he knew that the main reason was that Luo Hongjian was still worried about herself. Hongjian, please discuss everything with me. I won't go out. It's okay to let Pei Wei go out to investigate. Ye Chen hugged Luo Hongjian gently and said, Pei Wei has signed a master-servant contract with me. He will not betray me. In addition, I also have some guillotine nails that Pei Wei made before. With that said, Ye Chen took out a dozen guillotine nails. These things can be given to ordinary God Emperor level experts. As long as you find the target, you can let them use the guillotine to attack. Are you sure Pei Wei won't betray? Luo Hongjian asked. Ye Chen nodded, you can rest assured of this, he will not betray me, and it is extremely difficult for others to know my specific situation from him. Even the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion probably doesn't have this ability. Luo Hongjian breathed a sigh of relief. Pei Wei is a strong man at the 4th level of the Great Emperor, and with him, the possibility of destroying Watanabe River is much higher. Hongjian, do you have any information about the enemy? Luo Hongjian said solemnly, According to the investigation results of Jin Yiwei, it is most likely Xuanhuan, the powerful God Emperor of the Thousand Island Kingdom. He had the 4th level of the God Emperor more than 10 years ago. Now it may be the 5th level of the God Emperor or the 6th level of the God Emperor. But we don't know what he looks like, nor do we know his soul aura. Ye Chen secretly sighed in his heart, but it was a pity that without using the treasure, he still did not have the strength of a semi-saint level. Otherwise, he can equip the 4 swords of Xuxian. You can set up the Xuxian sword formation. The range of the Xuxian sword array can be large or small. As the range expands, the power will decrease, but he can completely let the Xuxian sword array cover tens of thousands of kilometers to find the opponent. Hanjian, give me these guillotine nails. I'll let Pei Wei go. Ye Chen said in a deep voice. Luo Hanjian nodded, and she put away those guillotines with the 1st level strength of the Great Emperor. As long as Watanabe River did not have a defensive imperial weapon, there would be no problem with this thing killing Watanabe River. In Fengming Palace, Pei Wei quickly set off. He doesn't digest it that fast, and he doesn't have the cultivation level of the Great Emperor's 5th level yet, but his strength at the 4th level of the Great Emperor is also very good. Ye Chen, did I not do a good enough job that something like this happened? Luo Hanjian's head rested on Ye Chen's shoulder, her eyes were red. More than 500,000 people died, and Luo Hanjian felt extremely sad. That is not a number, it is a living life, and countless families will fall into grief. Hanjian, don't deny yourself. You have done a good job. Such things are beyond your control. It turns out that only the ancestors of the Tianyang dynasty, who are powerful at the level of emperors, have never had such a thing happen. Now our strength has not been reduced, and our deterrence to the enemy has become stronger. Ye Chen comforted. Luo Hanjian's tears still flowed down. In front of her courtiers, she had to act very calm. She was the emperor and she couldn't panic. But there was no need for her to pretend to be strong in front of Ye Chen. Ye Chen sighed secretly in his heart. The emperor is not easy to do. The pressure is huge. It's fine if you just want to be a foolish king, but the problem is that Luo Hanjian wants the people to live a better life. Ye Chen, Watanabe Chuan is a lecherous evil spirit. If it is really him, he is probably here for Enlan and Qian. You want both of them. If the 2 of them lose their virginity, their attractiveness to some strong men will definitely be greatly reduced. Luo Hanjian said seriously. Ye Chen glared at Luo Hanjian. Luo Hanjian said in a deep voice, Ye Chen, I'm not kidding you, I'm telling the truth. If Watanabe River really comes for Enlan and Qian, and they get the news that so many people have died, do you know how much pressure they will be under? Ye Chen frowned and said, Hanjian, you are not solving the problem at all. Even if they lose their virginity and become less attractive to some strong men, there will still be such strong men. What we have to do is kill them until they are afraid. Kill them until they will never dare to mess around with Tianyang dynasty. Luo Hanjian said, Ye Chen, it's not easy to find Watanabe River and kill him, not to mention there will be people more powerful than him. We will definitely do what you said, but it is also important to reduce the attraction. Ye Chen, you have read many books. You should know how many people have died in such things in history. Some information emerged in Ye Chen's mind. The most recent incident was that 100 million people died. That time it was a strong man from the 9th level of the God Emperor who caused trouble. He set his sights on the princess of the Northern Desert Dynasty and wanted her to become a furnace to assist him in training to break through to the level of the Great Emperor. At first he proposed marriage, but he was rejected because of his disgrace. This guy killed 1 million people and threatened the Northern Desert Dynasty. The Emperor of the Northern Desert Dynasty was furious and sent many powerful men to hunt him down. He even issued a huge reward for the emperor-level powerhouses from other countries to join in the pursuit. In the end, the strong man died. But the powerful man of the 9th level of the God Emperor was so terrifying. Before he died, he slaughtered dozens of cities. The death toll exceeds 100 million. The princess couldn't bear the pressure and committed suicide. The emperor of the Northern Desert Dynasty also chose to abdicate, which had far-reaching consequences. Ye Chen, our Tianyang dynasty has offended several empires before, and some powerful people in their countries are already ready to take action. The current ranking on the 9 Heavens beauty list is quite exciting for them. Luo Hongjian said. The first, second, and third places in the Juxiao beauty list are all from the same country. This has never happened before. Besides, Luo Hongjian and the three of them were gathered together. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian were Luo Hongjian's imperial concubines. To a guy like Watanabe River, this is like three big gold mines coming together. Super attractive. Ye Chen frowned secretly. The beauties on this world's 9 Heavens beauty list were particularly attractive. Secretly Juxiao Pavilion must have put countless thoughts into it. Diamonds that had no value at all in the previous life have become the pursuit of countless people under the brainwashing of capital, not to mention the stunning beauties on the Juxiao beauty list. Hongjian, it's not fair to you, it's not fair to Enlan and Qianqian. Ye Chen shook his head. He can't accept this. Luo Hongjian said, Ye Chen, I think it's okay. Enlan and Qianqian are probably very happy. Ye Chen. Ye Chen said, Hongjian, I am a semi-saint level strongman. I am threatened by a god emperor level strongman. I need to exchange for peace in this way. Don't I want to lose face? I have another idea. If the other party is really here for Enlan or Qianqian, let them come forward on their own. Luo Hongjian stared at Ye Chen. A card appeared in Ye Chen's hand. Hongjian, this is an emperor-level sealing card that can seal all the cultivation levels of powerful people below the emperor. I have obtained the seal card a long time ago but have never used it. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 195. Luo Hongjian looked at the seal card. It looked ordinary. A spiritual inspection of Luo Hongjian did not reveal any abnormalities. Ye Chen, can this person really seal a powerful man at the level of a god emperor? Luo Hongjian was a little skeptical. Ye Chen nodded, 100% yes. As long as the opponent does not have a defensive imperial weapon, there will definitely be no problem. Luo Hongjian shook her head, Ye Chen, the other party will definitely ask Enlan and the others to seal their cultivation. With seal cultivation, treasures like guillotine cannot be used at all. Hongjian, you don't need any cultivation to use this. Ye Chen smiled and said. He could actually use this when his strength was still very low, and so could Enlangxiu and the others. Luo Hongjian thought, if this is the case, it shouldn't be a big problem. However, Luo Hongjian did not want Enlangxiu and the others to take such risks unless it was absolutely necessary. In name, Enlangxiu and the others were imperial concubines. Time passed gradually. When Pei Wei arrived in Dongjiang City, the bodies of the hundreds of thousands of people who died here were collected and buried, but the grief left by the deaths of these people in this city will last for a long, long time. There is no breath left. Pei Wei checked everywhere, but he found nothing. After all, Watanabe River is also a strong man in the 6th level of the God Emperor, and he has a good treasure that can restrain the aura. When Watanabe River took action, he was deliberately stuck in time, before a heavy rain. Pavilion Master, I think it's a little strange that Pei Wei is not dead. Aren't the Tianyang royal family worried that he will rebel again? In a restaurant in Dongjiang City, Nightingale said with some confusion. There was a precious mirror in front of them, and Pei Wei could be seen in the mirror. Even if Pei Wei leaves Dongjiang City, they can still see him within 1,000 kilometers. The master of Juxiao Pavilion said calmly, Pei Wei has the cultivation level of the 4th level of the Great Emperor. It may be a pity for the royal family to kill him. Coupled with Ye Chen's strong talent, it is entirely possible to reach the 8th or 9th level of the Great Emperor in the future. It is normal for Pei Wei, the 4th level of the Great Emperor, to seriously serve the royal family. Nightingale frowned and said, "It always feels a little weird. If Ye Chen is killed, this will be a big hidden danger. And An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian have improved their cultivation faster than we expected. Luo Hongjian's cultivation level is improving at an abnormal speed." The master of Juxiao Pavilion chuckled and said, "Nightingale, are you worried that Ye Chen will be stronger than us?" Nightingale shook her head repeatedly. Of course she doesn't think so. If Ye Chen is given a long time, Ye Chen may be able to become a semi-saint, but they will not give Ye Chen that much time. Pavilion Master, should we kill Pei Wei? His strength is not weak. I think there is a high possibility of killing Watanabe Chuan. Watanabe Chuan is a good chess piece. The lord of the Juxiao Pavilion shook his head. How far Watanabe Chuan can reach is up to him. Don't let the small things make the big mistakes. He can only kill 10 to 20 million people at most. If Pei Wei dies, the Tianyang dynasty may not start a world war. Let's go. The lord of Juxiao Pavilion and the others left. They had already come here and absorbed a lot of resentment. 2 days passed. There are only 3 days left before the end of Luo Hongjian's filial piety period. Jin Yuwei has not discovered Watanabe River for the time being. Pei Wei and many forces in the Tianyang dynasty have not discovered Watanabe River for the time being. This guy is very cunning. Even if the God Emperor, who is more powerful than him, comes near him, he may not be able to find him. The treasure of Watanabe River that hides the aura is good. That treasure was traded to him by the powerful men of Juxiao Pavilion. Your Majesty, I received a letter from Watanabe River sent to Your Majesty. Ding Mo came to Luo Hongjian again. He presented a letter with a special coating on it that could block out consciousness. Luo Hongjian possesses the cultivation level of the 4th level of the God Emperor, and she has an Emperor-level guardian ring. She did not ask Yunuqian to open the letter, she tore it up herself. He took out the letter paper and wrote a few lines in blood on it. Luo Hongjian, give An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian to me. I will no longer kill anyone. If not, I will kill another million people in 3 days. Which one is more important, the two of them, or the countless people of the Tianyang dynasty? Please think carefully. We have considered sending them to Dongjiang City, and there will be instructions for the next step. Luo Hongjian's hand was holding the letter tightly, her face was very ugly. As expected, Watanabe River came for An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. Commander Ding, did the Jin Yiwei discover anything? Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice. Ding Mo smiled bitterly, Your Majesty, I haven't discovered anything else yet. The other party's hidden abilities are superb. Luo Hongjian was angry, but he also knew that Jin Yiwei had tried his best. When something like this happened, Ding Mo and the others were equally angry. Go down. Luo Hongjian waved her hand, and she quickly arrived at Fengming Palace and gave the letter to Ye Chen. 3 days. Ye Chen's eyes sparkled. It took him 3 days to digest the heavenly Dao pill. His current strength was only a hair away from the late half-saint stage, and he should be able to reach the late half-saint stage within 3 days. Hongjian, on the 3rd day I will accompany An Langxian and the others to Dongjiang City. Ye Chen said. This won't work. Luo Hongjian said quickly, Ye Chen, didn't you say that An Lan and Qianqian would solve it on their own? With the seal stuck, it is entirely possible for them to seal each other's cultivation. Ye Chen, if something happens to you, how will you let me live? Ye Chen smiled and said, Hongjian, do you think my emperor-level Tiandao pill was in vain? I will soon have the strength of a late half-saint. Such strength should not be much weaker than the master of Juxiao Pavilion. Even if the master of Juxiao Pavilion is strong, I should be able to escape. Luo Hongjian frowned. She still didn't want Ye Chen to go out. Ye Chen, can't you ask Pei Wei to accompany them there? When you go out, there will probably be strong people who use imperial weapons to attack you. If you don't kill them, Juxiao Pavilion will probably become suspicious. Luo Hongjian said. If such a big thing happens, other countries will definitely take action secretly. They would probably be too lazy to use the imperial weapon to kill Pei Wei when he showed up, but Ye Chen was different. The Midland dynasty, the Gods dynasty, and even the Northern Desert dynasty definitely don't want Ye Chen's strength to continue to improve. Hongjian, I have a sense of propriety. Ye Chen smiled and said. If he only had the strength of the mid-stage semi-saint, Ye Chen would not go out to show off under the current circumstances. It was discovered that he had no hope of escaping from the hands of the Lord of the Nine Heavens Pavilion. Now the strength gap is not that big. Moreover, the Shenlong armor can withstand 3 saint-level attacks. Ye Chen, be careful when the time comes, and seize the time to improve. Luo Hongjian said worriedly. After coming out of Fengming Palace, Luo Hongjian went to Jingran Palace next to her. She had to talk to En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. Less than half an hour later, En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian arrived at Fengming Palace, with tears in their eyes. Ye Chen, En Lan, and Qianqian strongly request that only the two of them go. They don't want you to leave the palace. Luo Hongjian said. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian still don't know Ye Chen's true strength. They think that Ye Chen only has the 4th level of cultivation of the Great Emperor. It is entirely possible for him to be killed by the Emperor's weapon at such a state. Ye Chen frowned and said, En Lan, Qianqian, I left the palace not for you, but for the people of the world. You cannot represent the people of the world, so stop talking. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian were speechless. Ye Chen has said so, what can they say? Soon the 3rd day came. Ye Chen asked the system, and the system finally determined that he already had the strength of a late semi-saint. It's a pity that the 4 swords of Zhu Xian still cannot recognize its owner for the time being. Hongjian, wait for me to come back. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian with a smile and said, today is the last day for Luo Hongjian to observe her filial piety. I'm waiting for you. Careful. Luo Hongjian took the initiative to hug Ye Chen and gave him a sweet kiss. Pei Wei, who returned soon, left with En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian Yujian. Ye Chen turned into a little insect and lay on En Langxiu's shoulder. Why not lie on Pei Wei? Just kidding, En Langxiu smells good, Pei Wei smells good, he's not stupid. Pei Wei is a strong man at the 4th level of the Great Emperor. He has arrived at Dongjiang City in less than half an hour. 4 days, the city was still in mourning. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian burst into tears. Ye Chen felt furious in his heart. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 196. A large number of buildings were destroyed throughout Dongjiang City, and there were deep gullies in many places on the ground. There were too many dead people, and even though the bodies had been cleared, the bloody smell filled the entire Dongjiang City. Daddy, can you come back? Yeah, we'll never be naughty again. Woo woo. Pei Wei landed on the ground, and not far away a 5 or 6-year-old girl was walking blankly on the street. It was her birthday a few days ago, and her parents happily took her out to buy things. As a result, a flash of knife light passed, and all the people over 1.2 meters tall near her died. She became an orphan. The Tianyang dynasty officials did a lot of things, all kinds of assistance, and they didn't worry about food and drink, but it was too pitiful for such a young child to lose their parents. There are many people like her in the whole Dongjiang city. There are many orphans younger than her. Asshole, even if you are found by the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion, you will die. Lord of Juxiao Pavilion, you will die too. Ye Chen roared in his heart. The Nine Heavens beauty list was created, and the public opinion was secretly manipulated. The beauty list has been around for 20,000 to 30,000 years. God knows how many people have been killed in such a long time. According to historical records, the death of hundreds of millions is not very deep. But now that hundreds of thousands of people have died in Dongjiang City, just coming here and taking a look will give people a huge shock. Old Saint Master Pei, you return to the Tianyang dynasty. I need to see you there in half an hour. Empress Ye Chen, Yao Jingguo, and others also need to show up. Otherwise, more people will die. Someone approached Ye Chen and said expressionlessly. Ye Chen secretly checked this person quickly. He was hypnotized and could accept orders to do things. Ye Chen's eyes flashed, and Watanabe River should not be too far away from here. Otherwise, it would be inconvenient to send a remote control. Old Saint Master Pei, don't do anything, otherwise even if I am arrested, there will be countless people in the Tianyang dynasty to bury me. Ye Chen sent a voice message to Pei Wei, asking him to leave first. After Pei Wei left, Watanabe Chuan should be much bolder and may get closer. Ye Chen knew that if he used the strength of the semi-saint level and the powerful divine sense was released to scan, he might be discovered by the Juxiao Pavilion Master and others. He might only have one chance. Whoever dares to mess with the Tianyang dynasty will be killed without mercy. Pei Wei flew away, and he burst out with an extremely powerful aura all the way. Countless people sensed the terrible aura emanating from Pei Wei. Watanabe Chuan took action. Now many other strong men in the Tianyang dynasty were ready to move. Pei Wei flew all the way over like this and released a powerful aura that could shock many people. He. So what if the Tianyang dynasty is powerful? Isn't it played around by the old man? Watanabe Chuan laughed strangely. Time passed by, and Watanabe Chuan knew that Pei Wei had really left and was much bolder. He didn't think that Ye Chen, the Empress, would leave the Tianyang imperial city to take risks. Watanabe Chuan got much closer. In this way, through some means, he could see the situation on Ye Chen's side and control the situation more conveniently. Even if Ye Chen came here, with Ye Chen's fourth level cultivation, and the distance he kept now, Watanabe Chuan believed that Ye Chen would not be able to find him. Watanabe Chuan also knew that there were strong men from other countries acting secretly. If Ye Chen came, the strong men from other countries would kill Ye Chen without him. Ranking second and third, it really makes sense. Watanabe Chuan saw the appearance of An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. The two women's super high looks made his heart beat faster, and the practice of the skills he practiced was obviously faster. Watanabe Chuan practiced a kind of magic skill. The more the woman stimulated him, the more heartbeat, the better the effect of the practice. He actually wanted to deal with Luo Hongjian the most, but he also knew that he didn't have the ability yet. Pavilion Master, I don't know what kind of means Tianyang dynasty will have. Nightingale said. They secretly paid attention to the situation here. Tianyang dynasty obediently sent An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian out directly, which should be impossible. The distance was 100 or 200 kilometers, and the master of Juxiao Pavilion didn't know that Ye Chen followed here. They didn't think Ye Chen dared to come over. At such a young age, with the cultivation of the fourth level of the Great Emperor, he should stay in the palace and improve his strength. That would be the best for Ye Chen and even for the entire Tianyang dynasty. You leave and go to the imperial city of the United States. You will get further instructions when you get there. The man in front of An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian said. Watanabe Chuan is very cunning. An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian went to the United States, and the strong men of the Tianyang dynasty could not follow them. And he might cause trouble later. Ye Chen's eyes flashed coldly. He couldn't drag on with Watanabe Chuan like this. He had to get rid of him as soon as possible. When An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian got there, people on the Tianyang dynasty side might die. They would be led by the nose. It stands to reason that Watanabe Chuan should not be far away from here now. With my semi-saint level strength, my consciousness is likely to find him. Ye Chen released his powerful consciousness. 10 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. Ye Chen's consciousness was not released in all directions, but only in one direction. This way, he could search a longer distance. And it was entirely possible to find Watanabe River first, so he would not be discovered by the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion. Finally, Ye Chen extended his consciousness to 1,000 kilometers. Turn. Ye Chen controlled his consciousness to turn in circles. He would not react to people below the level of the Divine Emperor. Only the Divine Emperor would be checked carefully. Watanabe Chuan was now 600 or 700 kilometers away. He thought there would be no danger at this distance. 10 seconds later, Ye Chen's consciousness turned half a circle, but he did not find Watanabe Chuan, nor did he find the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion and others. The powerful people hidden in the dark in other countries were discovered, and he even found a great emperor. Huh. Just then, the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion's face changed slightly. He and Nightingale both sensed Ye Chen's consciousness. Ye Chen's consciousness just swept over them. The strength of consciousness, the early stage of the semi-saint. Without using the Xuxian sword and other treasures, Ye Chen currently only has the strength of the 9th level of the Great Emperor, but he can use the power of the Xuxian sword to enhance his consciousness. Pavilion Master, this. Nightingale's eyes widened, a little unbelievable. Just now, it seemed that Ye Chen's consciousness had swept over them, and it was actually a semi-saint level consciousness. It's Ye Chen. Ye Chen may have used some treasure, and his consciousness strength has temporarily reached the semi-saint level. Juxiao Pavilion Master's eyes flashed with brilliance. It seems that he has to check Ye Chen carefully at that time. Ye Chen's cultivation may not be the 4th level of the Great Emperor. Even a person at the 4th level of the Great Emperor cannot reach such a level of consciousness even with special treasures. Juxiao Pavilion Master, Nightingale. Ye Chen's heart was shocked. Juxiao Pavilion Master and the others sensed it, so naturally Ye Chen also discovered them. Juxiao Pavilion Master now looks like that strange young man, he didn't expect to be discovered. Nightingale looks like a girl in black. Nightingale, we will go to see Ye Chen later. My identity is the guardian of Juxiao Pavilion, and my strength is the 9th level of the Great Emperor. Juxiao Pavilion Master said in a calm voice. Yes, Pavilion Master. Ye Chen seized the time to continue searching with his consciousness, and soon his eyes lit up. He found Watanabe River. This guy has the cultivation of the 6th level of the Divine Emperor, and he hides well. Even if the strong men of the 7th or 8th level of the Divine Emperor are less than 10 kilometers away from him, they may not be able to find him. Forbidden. Ye Chen's powerful consciousness entered Watanabe Chuan's body and directly sealed his strength. Come. Watanabe Chuan was pulled by Ye Chen's consciousness and flew quickly to their side. In a few breaths, Watanabe Chuan arrived. Ye Chen has the strength of the late semi-saint, but his hypnosis ability is not so strong. He tried hypnosis and found that it didn't work, so he directly used the Master-Servant Contract Scroll. The Emperor-level Contract Scroll controlled Watanabe Chuan easily. Watanabe Chuan, tell me what other means you have secretly. Ye Chen transmitted the voice. Watanabe Chuan really did something tricky in secret, and hypnotized many strong men in secret. As long as he got into trouble, those strong men would take action in batches, and the Tianyang dynasty might die tens of millions of people. Asshole. Ye Chen immediately used a jade talisman to tell Luo Hongjian the situation. The strong men of the Jinyue quickly set out. 10 minutes later, Ye Chen received a message from Luo Hongjian, and the nails in various places had been pulled out by the Jinyue. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 197. Ye Chen breathed a sigh of relief. With those nails removed, there would be no worries about killing Watanabe River. Taking Watanabe River, Ye Chen and the others arrived at the Lord's mansion of Dongjiang City. Meet the Emperor and the Empress, meet the two imperial concubines. The original city lord of Dongjiang City has died, and the new city lord is a god king level figure who was transferred here. When Ye Chen and the others came over, the new city lord Lu Anfu quickly saluted respectfully. City Master Yanagi, he is Watanabe Kawa, the murderer of the Dongjiang City murder case. I have destroyed most of his cultivation. Now I will hand him over to you. It is up to you to decide how to deal with him. Let the people calm down more. Ye Chen pointed at the Watanabe River road. His cultivation level had declined, and Watanabe River had become much older. Lu Anfu looked at Watanabe River, and his eyes seemed to burst out of fire. Empress, are you sure it's correct? Lu Anfu asked. Ye Chen nodded, that's natural. Lord Lu, I won't delay here any longer. You can get things done. Yes, Empress. Lu Anfu solemnly said that if the murderer is caught, the people's resentment will be reduced a lot. Soon, Ye Chen left with An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. Ye Chen did not hide. The Xuxian sword turns into a giant sword and flies. Ye Chen stood at the head of the sword, with his hands behind his back, and a powerful aura was released from his body. What happened this time had a great impact on Ye Chen. In his previous life, Ye Chen was just an ordinary person. In this life, Ye Chen was also ordinary for more than 20 years. He had grown up in a short time and had little experience. In fact, he lacked one thing: the heart of a strong man. Now Ye Chen's mood is changing rapidly. He used to be essentially a salted fish. Even though Ye Chen had done some things before, his salty nature had not changed. This time the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people stimulated him. The people who died today have nothing to do with him, but if they don't have enough strength, Luo Hanjian, An Langxiu, and others may die in the future. En Lan, the Emperor and Empress seem to have undergone some changes. Lu Qianqian said via voice transmission. Standing behind Ye Chen, they felt that Ye Chen's figure seemed much taller. The Emperor's mood has changed. En Langxiu said in a message that she practiced the Holy Demon Soul Sutra, and her perception in this area is relatively sharp. Boom. Along with the changes in Ye Chen's state of mind, his soul also underwent transformation. The power contained in the yin and yang holy body further exploded, and the Bible of heaven and earth moved crazily. Ye Chen's cultivation level achieved a breakthrough in a short period of time. The 8th level of the Great Emperor. Host, you already have the early stage strength of a half-saint without using the immortal killing sword and other treasures. The 4 swords of Xuxian can be equipped. The Xuxian sword formation currently possesses the power of the semi-saint perfection level, and it cannot be broken without 4 strong men of the same level. The system's voice sounded in Ye Chen's mind. Ye Chen was ecstatic. His state of mind has improved, which actually led to an improvement in his cultivation, and he can actually equip the 4 swords of killing immortals. System, equip it immediately. The system cannot be broken except by 4 strong men of the same level. Please explain this. Equipped. Host, without 4 strong men of the same level, cannot break the Xuxian sword formation. As long as the Xuxian sword formation is there, the host can fight against 3 semi-saint perfect masters in the formation at the same time. Host, please note that with your current strength and the full power of the Xuxian sword formation, host, you can only sustain half a stick of incense. A faint smile appeared on Ye Chen's face. He was very satisfied, quite satisfied. The time for half a stick of incense may not seem long, but battles often don't last that long. What a powerful formation! A lot of information flooded into Ye Chen's mind. While equipping the 4 swords of Xuxian, He can also obtain information related to the Xuanhuan sword formation. Everyone prepare. Target Ye Chen, count down to 3 seconds to use all imperial weapons. 3, 2, 1. 200 kilometers away, a powerful man with the level of an emperor looked at Ye Chen and the others. He summoned a dozen powerful men of the God Emperor level. This great guy comes from the American League dynasty. There are a dozen or so God Emperor level experts, some from the American League dynasty, and some from the Gods dynasty. There are also people from the Ota Empire and the Thousand Islands country. They all have offensive weapons on them. Ye Chen's consciousness has discovered them. If he takes action first, he can kill them instantly. But Ye Chen didn't take action. Killing those strong men silently will not deter some demons who want to cause trouble. Kill. Within a range of 200 kilometers, a dozen extremely terrifying attacks instantly hit Ye Chen. The first one to arrive was a bolt of thunder. This thunder came from a thunder attribute imperial weapon at the 8th level of the Great Emperor. It was destroyed by a strong man at the 2nd level of the Great Emperor. Its attack power reached the 6th level of the Great Emperor. The terrifying thunder struck for 200 kilometers. Even though it was daytime, this thunder was extremely dazzling, and countless people saw this thunder. Thousands of meters long thunder seemed to kill all three of Ye Chen and the others to pieces. Empress Ye is going to die. This thought comes to many people's minds. En Langxiu and Lu Qinqin's eyes showed horror. They felt the terrifying power of this thunderbolt, and there were more than a dozen terrifying attacks behind it. Boom! The thunder directly hit the giant sword in the sky. Within half a second, a dozen other Emperor-level attacks also hit the giant sword in the sky. The following Great Emperor-level attacks are as weak as the Great Emperor's 1st level, and as strong as the Great Emperor's 4th level. Every attack has the power to massacre a city. That's it? Ye Chen's mocking voice spread from the sky to all directions. The various attacks directed at him dissipated, but the giant sword in the sky was still there. Ye Chen stood at the head of the sword, and his clothes were not damaged at all. His Empress Ye's defense is so strong. Is this the foundation of Tianyang dynasty? Many powerful people were shocked. Such a terrifying attack did not harm Ye Chen or the others at all. Attack this palace and you will be punished by death. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression. When they took action just now, Ye Chen had secretly arranged the immortal killing sword formation. The Xuanhuan sword formation covered hundreds of kilometers in radius. Escape. The Great Emperor of the American League dynasty and other powerful men at the level of God Emperor fled desperately. Such attacks can't kill Ye Chen, so there's no point in them attacking again. The attack weapon they just used can only explode once in a short period of time. Poof. 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 The invisible sword energy instantly wiped the necks of the fleeing strong men, and their heads moved immediately. The powerful sword energy directly wiped out their vitality. A strong man at the level of the Great Emperor and a dozen strong men at the level of the God Emperor were killed by Ye Chen. Within a few hundred kilometers, there were still some strong men who had not taken action just now. God Emperor Posiad and others were here, and some of them saw all the strong men who were fleeing being killed. A strong man at the level of the Great Emperor and a dozen strong men at the God Emperor level were all killed in a very short period of time. This is too terrifying. Everyone, I know that many of you have come from other countries and want to do something in the Tianyang dynasty. I give you a chance. You can do whatever you want. En Langxiu, Lu Qianqian, and the others are here. After winning against me, you can take them away. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression, his voice spread hundreds of kilometers around. In the distance, Xuanhuan Pavilion Master and the others were staring at this side. Xuanhuan Pavilion Master felt a faint threat of death. He possesses the perfect strength of a semi-saint and has keen perception. Let's go. The Master of Xuanhuan Pavilion said in a deep voice. It was just him and Nightingale who rushed to deal with Ye Chen. The master of Juxiao Pavilion felt lack of confidence. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 198. Ye Chen noticed the departure of Juxiao Pavilion Master and the others. Juxiao Pavilion Master and the others were not within the scope of the Xuxian sword formation now. Miss Nightingale, welcome to Tianyang Imperial City. That's your man next to him. He's so evil, he doesn't look like a good man. Ye Chen sent a message to Nightingale. Nightingale's face changed slightly, and Ye Chen seemed to be a lot more courageous. Empress Ye Chen, I will come over when I have time. Nightingale said. Ye Chen ignored Juxiao Pavilion Master and the others. Now was not a good time to kill them. If the master of Juxiao Pavilion and others rush over, Ye Chen will not be polite and let them taste the power of the immortal killing sword formation. Just quit. In this situation, Ye Chen will not take the initiative to stir up trouble. Ye Chen still doesn't know how powerful Juxiao Pavilion is secretly. Changsheng Mansion is just one of the strongholds of Juxiao Pavilion. Besides, the master of Juxiao Pavilion should have a trump card to save his life. The Xuxian sword formation can fight against 3 semi-saint perfect strong men, but if a strong man of this strength escapes with all his strength, the Xuxian sword formation may not be able to save his life. Pavilion Master, Empress Ye Chen sent a message to me, inviting me to visit Tianyang Imperial City when I have time. She also said that you are evil and do not look like a good person. Nightingale told the master of Juxiao Pavilion without hiding anything. The eyes of the master of Juxiao Pavilion flashed brightly. He had hidden his cultivation level. Ye Chen probably didn't know his cultivation level, but Ye Chen probably knew Nightingale's specific cultivation level. But he and Nightingale are demons, which Ye Chen may not know. In the sky, Ye Chen stood at the head of the giant sword. Within a few hundred kilometers, many people could see Ye Chen and the others on the giant sword in the sky. Ye Chen is standing in front of a beautiful tree, with An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian behind him. An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian, their rankings of second and third are well deserved. They are beautiful, but let's not take any chances with them. The foundation of Tianyang dynasty is too strong. Many powerful people were discussing secretly. They gathered here originally because they wanted to watch the Tianyang dynasty's jokes. As a result, Wat Nabe Chuan was easily found, and a dozen top experts were easily killed by Ye Chen. Such a strong attack could not hurt Ye Chen at all. Is there no one? I have given you a chance. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression, and powerful people within hundreds of kilometers heard his voice. No strong person came forward. There is no emperor-level expert among them, so how can they dare to stand up and act arrogantly? Prince Fujita, I didn't expect you to be here too. Wat Nabe River is a member of your Thousand Island country, and your Thousand Island country has to pay the price. Ye Chen said coldly. As he spoke, he raised his hand and sucked, and the strong suction force directly sucked Miyaichi Fujita, who was hundreds of kilometers away, in front of him. Fujita Miyaishi's expression changed drastically. Empress Ye, you are the Empress of Tianyang dynasty, and I am the Prince of Qiandao Kingdom. You can't deal with me. Fujita Miyaichi said quickly. Several strong men protecting Fujita Gongichi rushed over quickly, and they looked at Ye Chen warily. I have been unhappy with you for a long time. You shouldn't be here. The Thousand Islands Kingdom used to be just a subsidiary state of the Tianyang dynasty. I have the final say. Please change your Thousand Islands Kingdom to a crown prince. Ye Chen said calmly. A strong man next to Miyachi Fujita said sternly, Empress Ye, this is the matter of our Thousand Island country, you have no right to interfere in the matter of our Thousand Island country. Ye Chen looked at this strong man. He has a cultivation base at the level of a god emperor and has good strength. But instantly his body ignited with flames, and in the blink of an eye he turned into nothingness in the flames. The faces of Fujita Miyaichi and others changed wildly. Emperor Ye Chen, I am the Crown Prince of Thousand Island Kingdom. You can't mess around, and my father can't listen to you and replace me. Fujita Miyaichi gritted his teeth and said. Many people looked at him. As the Crown Prince of Thousand Island Kingdom, he couldn't be too timid. Ye Chen said calmly, since you are disobedient, then you should die. If you die, the Thousand Island Kingdom will naturally replace you with the Crown Prince, right? Poof. Poof. The sword light flashed, and Fujita Miyaichi and the others were all killed by the powerful sword energy. Hiss. Within hundreds of kilometers, many powerful people who saw the scene were horrified. Miyaichi Fujita was the prince of the Thousand Island Kingdom, but he was killed by Ye Chen like this. This is too overbearing. The Tianyang dynasty has not been so domineering for at least 3,000 years. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I don't have enough strength. 3,000 years ago, the Tianyang dynasty had a strong man at the 8th level of the Great Emperor, who was very powerful. At that time, the Qiandao kingdom and others did not dare to act arrogantly in front of the Tianyang dynasty. Ever since that great emperor died, the Tianyang dynasty has been going downhill. The dragon in the east has awakened. Empress Ye is likely to have surpassed the 4th level of cultivation of the great emperor. The Thousand Islands country doesn't know what kind of response it will have. Many powerful people were discussing secretly. Ye Chen glanced across, and many powerful people felt that Ye Chen's eyes had seen them. Everyone, there should be some strong men from the Thousand Island Kingdom among you. Go back and tell the leader of the Thousand Island Kingdom to ask him to take the treasure to Tianyang Imperial City to make amends. If he doesn't come, I will go there. If he can resist my sword, I will lose. Ye Chen said domineeringly. There are indeed powerful people from the Thousand Island country here, and they are extremely angry. Ye Chen beheaded their prince and several powerful men in their country, and he actually asked the leader of their Thousand Island kingdom to come over and apologize. What a bully! Empress Ye Chen, although what Nabe Chuan is from our Thousand Islands, he has committed many crimes in our Thousand Islands, and we also want to kill him. His behavior has nothing to do with our Thousand Islands. A strong man from the Thousand Islands couldn't help but stand up and said. Ye Chen asked their king to come and apologize, they couldn't bear it. Ye Chen said lightly, according to what I know, your Thousand Islands have not cancelled what Nabe Chuan's nationality. In this case, you should pay the price. Empress Ye Chen, aren't you afraid of causing a war between the two countries? The strong man who stood up said angrily. Ye Chen looked over and laughed, your Thousand Islands declared war in the morning, and you have to destroy the country in the afternoon. I have to take a nap at noon and have no time to deal with you. The strong man who stood up from the Thousand Islands was so embarrassed that his face turned red. Ye Chen was contemptuous. Within 3 days, I will see the king of your Thousand Island country in Tianyang Imperial City and ask for forgiveness. You are brave enough to question me. I will grant you a death. Ye Chen raised his hand and slapped it. A huge energy palm appeared and instantly slapped the strong man who stood up. A huge palm print that was 1,000 meters long and 100 meters deep appeared on the ground. There was a little blood in the center of the palm print. Originally, there were other strong men from the Thousand Island country who wanted to stand up, but they trembled when they saw this scene. Listen, the strong men from other countries, if you dare to mess around in our Tianyang dynasty, I will confiscate your property at the least and destroy your country at the worst. Ye Chen said lightly, and as he spoke, a strong aura burst out from his body. Hiss, the 7th level of the Great Emperor. Many strong men widened their eyes. Ye Chen actually had the cultivation of the 7th level of the Great Emperor. With such a cultivation level, if there are powerful treasures, it is normal that the attacks of those strong men just now could not kill Ye Chen. It is definitely not difficult for Ye Chen to destroy the 1,000 islands. Empress Ye is only in her 20s. God, with the cultivation level of the 7th level of the Great Emperor in her 20s, Empress Ye may become a semi-saint in the future. Let's not call Empress Ye, I think it's better to call Ye Tiandi. Many strong men discussed secretly. Even though Ye Chen had shown the cultivation level of the 4th level of the Great Emperor before, in the eyes of many strong men, Ye Chen's most important identity was not the Great Emperor, but the Empress of the Tianyang dynasty. With the strength of the Tianyang dynasty, the strength of the 4th level of the Great Emperor is still a little bit insufficient. But now it's different. With the cultivation level of the 7th level of the Great Emperor, the identity of the Empress is not as important as his strength. Congratulations to Emperor Ye Tian for reaching the 7th level of the Great Emperor. Emperor Ye Tian, congratulations. Emperor Ye Tian, we are here in the Tianyang dynasty, and we must abide by the rules of the Tianyang dynasty. Many powerful people including Emperor Poseidon flew to Ye Chen and his party, and they all congratulated him. Emperor Ye Tian. Ye Chen was surprised. Emperor Poseidon smiled and said, although you are the Empress of the Tianyang dynasty, with your strength, it is okay for us to respectfully call you Emperor Ye Tian. Many other powerful people nodded. Ye Chen showed a faint smile on his face. Emperor Ye Tian sounded much better than Empress Ye. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 199. In Emperor Tianyang's palace, Luo Hanjian was restless. She was afraid that Ye Chen would be in danger. Watanabe Sichuan solved it, and Ye Chen's strength was normal. The main thing is Juxiao Pavilion Master and the others. Your Majesty, news came from Dongjiang City that a dozen strong men used imperial weapons to attack the Emperor and the Empress. Nangongning went to Luo Hanjian to report. Luo Hanjian's face changed drastically. Your Majesty, the Empress is fine. All the attacks hit the Empress almost at the same time. The strongest attack reached the 6th level of the Great Emperor, but the Empress is safe and sound. Luo Hanjian glared at Nangongning. Nangong, don't gasp like this when you talk. Nangongning said quickly, yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, the Emperor and Empress easily killed those strong men who faced him, including a great emperor. Then the Emperor killed Fujita Mayachi and others. We also asked the leader of the 1,000 Island Kingdom to come to Tianyang Imperial City to plead guilty. Luo Hanjian was stunned. Ye Chen actually acted so strongly, which was a little different from what he used to do. Ye Chen is deliberately acting strong so that he can suppress the powerful people from all walks of life in the Tianyang dynasty, but if he acts like this, the chances of Juxiao Pavilion causing trouble for him increase a lot. Luo Hanjian was anxious. Nangong, what else? Luo Hanjian said in a deep voice. Nangongning's expression was a little hesitant, as if she wanted to say something but didn't dare. Nangongning lowered his head and said, Your Majesty, the Empress finally showed the cultivation of the 7th level of the Great Emperor. God Emperor Bosai and many others stood up and honored the Empress as Emperor Ye Tian. Luo Hanjian is the Emperor, the head of a country. This title is a bit disrespectful. Emperor Ye Tian. Good. Luo Hanjian's eyes lit up when she heard it. She thought this was a pretty good title. With her current feelings for Ye Chen, even if Ye Chen and she wanted the throne, she would give it up. Others respectfully call Ye Chen Ye Tiandi. What does this mean? It's just that in Luo Hanjian's view, the exposure of Ye Chen's cultivation level makes the danger much higher. On top of the giant sword, Ye Chen led in Langxiu and Lu Qianqian forward at high speed. Ye Chen turned around and found in Langxiu and Lu Qianqian looking at him somewhat dreamily. Ah! En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian looked away in panic. They lowered their heads and did not dare to look at Ye Chen. Ye Chen looked at them. If the two of them leave one day in the future and they have another man, will they be willing to let it go? Can thoughts be understood? This time Ye Chen realized something. Training the mind is part of the practice. If his thoughts are not clear, it will seriously affect his practice in the future. The Tianyang dynasty allowed polygamy. After traveling here, Ye Chen liked this very much. When he was in Xuanhuan Palace, he felt that there was no hope for him, so he answered honestly that he supported polygamy as a marriage system. Enlan, Qian, when you go back, tell Hanjian that you will still be my maid from now on. Ye Chen said softly. Enlangxiu and Lu Qian raised their heads and looked at Ye Chen in surprise. They were more willing to be Ye Chen's maids. This way, I can stay with Ye Chen. Even if they can't become Ye Chen's woman, they think this is fine. Yes, Empress. Enlangxiu and Lu Qian said obediently. Ye Chen smiled lightly and said, you should think carefully, if being my maid is a lifelong thing, you may also have tasks like warming the bed in the future. Enlangxiu and Lu Qian were extremely excited. Is Ye Chen planning to accept them in the future? They had no intention of being on an equal footing with Luo Hanjian and becoming Ye Chen's concubines. They were content with having a small corner in Ye Chen's heart. Empress, I am willing. The two women knelt down and said in unison. Ye Chen approached them and stretched out their hands. Enlangxiu and the others hesitated for a moment, then stretched out their beautiful hands to Ye Chen. Ye Chen took their hands and pulled them up. Don't kneel again. Ye Chen let go of Enlangxiu's and the others' hands and said softly. He felt a little panicked. It felt like he was having an affair behind his wife's back. Yes, master. Enlangxiu mustered up the courage to speak. Owner. Ye Chen was a little surprised. Enlangxiu took a deep breath and said, Master, we just knelt down to show our allegiance. From now on, we will be different from ordinary maids and will follow the master all our lives. Owner. Enlangxiu took the lead, and Lu Qian whispered at this time, her face turned red. Ye Chen felt a little numb in his heart. Two stunning beauties sweetly call themselves masters, which is a very satisfying feeling. What an evil world. Okay, just call it that. Ye Chen thought about it and said, now that they have made a decision in their hearts, they might as well change their names. Otherwise, they will continue to call themselves Empress? I feel uncomfortable. Yes, Master. Enlangxiu and Lu Qian said in unison. Ye Chen turned his head and looked forward. He did not do anything to Enlangxiu and Lu Qian in a hurry. In less than 10 minutes, Ye Chen and the others returned to Tianyang Imperial City. Arriving at the entrance of Tianyang Emperor's Palace, Ye Chen landed and Luo Hanjian was already waiting here. Seeing Ye Chen and the others returning safely, Luo Hanjian secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Huh. Luo Hanjian noticed something slightly strange in Enlangxiu and Lu Qian's expressions. Ye Chen, get on my imperial chariot. Concubine Lan, Concubine Ro, you can sit in your own sedan chair. Luo Hanjian said. Soon Ye Chen and Luo Hanjian arrived in the emperor's chariot, and Luo Hanjian activated the restriction that the emperor's chariot carried, making it difficult for outsiders to hear the sounds inside the emperor's chariot. Ye Chen, do you have anything to say to me? Luo Hanjian said with a half smile. Ye Chen coughed lightly, Hanjian, my strength has improved a bit, and now I am not afraid even if I face the Lord of Juxiao Pavilion. What else? Luo Hanjian chuckled. Ye Chen's heartbeat accelerated. Even if he had a fight with Juxiao Pavilion, his heartbeat would not be so fast. Hanjian, please tell Enlan and Qian to stop being imperial concubines and continue to be my maids. How about they call me master and you mistress from now on? Ye Chen coughed slightly and said. He was quite nervous. With Ye Chen's current strength, The identity of Empress Xuanhuan would not make him nervous at all, but because of his relationship with Xuanhuan, he was afraid that Xuanhuan would be angry. Xuanhuan said quietly, "Ye Chen, after all, I paid by mistake." Ye Chen looked at Xuanhuan with a bitter face. "Ye Chen, I'm just teasing you." Xuanhuan chuckled and said, "From what you said in Chaotian Palace, I know that you are not that settled. Since you were willing to go against your true feelings for me, I will not make it difficult for you. I will order An Lan and Qian to be removed from their positions as imperial concubines later. For Xuanhuan, it is not that difficult to accept An Langxiu and Lu Qian. Tianyang dynasty is a polygamous society, and this is the education she has received since childhood. In front of Ye Chen, Xuanhuan does not regard herself as the emperor now. She simply regarded herself as Ye Chen's wife. In a large family, if a husband refuses to take a concubine after reaching a certain age, his wife will become anxious for him and may take the initiative to arrange for him. Spreading branches and leaves is very important for a big family. If a woman does not have a son, or if she has a son but the son dies, and if the male master also dies, the woman and her daughter will often be miserable. There is a high probability that the family property will be taken away. This is called eating away at home. If a man has a concubine and the concubine gives birth to a boy, it is not considered an extinct household, because the child born to the concubine is also the child of the first wife, and must be called mother. The biological mother must be called aunt. "Hanjian, aren't you angry?" Ye Chen said in surprise. Xuanhuan's reaction was much calmer than he expected. Xuanhuan shook her head. "Ye Chen, I don't have that much time to accompany you. It's good to have An Lan and Qian to accompany you to prevent you from messing around outside." To say that there is no sadness in her heart at all is not true, but Xuanhuan can think clearly. It is normal for the strong to have more privileges. Ye Chen already possesses the perfect strength of a semi-saint at a young age. "Hanjian, thank you very much tonight, he. Ye Chen hugged Xuanhuan and said with a bad smile. Xuanhuan's face turned red and her body trembled slightly. She was excited and a little nervous. Returning to the Purple Dragon Palace, Xuanhuan wrote an imperial edict directly, removing An Lan and Lu Qian from their positions as imperial concubines. Xuanhuan didn't explain why she did this. She was the emperor, so she didn't need to explain to anyone. The two girls moved back to Fengming Palace happily. Late at night, midnight. Xuanhuan had been observing mourning for the Supreme Emperor for a month, and Ye Chen arrived at the Purple Dragon Palace. Xuanhuan changed out of her plain clothes and put on a red wedding dress. Now in her heart, she is marrying Ye Chen, not marrying Ye Chen to become her empress. Ye Chen approached and lifted the hijab on Xuanhuan's head. "Xuanhuan is stunningly beautiful tonight." Ye Chen was extremely excited. Xuanhuan was going to truly become his woman tonight. "Hanjian, I feel like I'm in a dream." Ye Chen and Xuanhuan drank a glass of wine. "Husband, do you often have such sweet dreams?" Xuanhuan was a little naughty. "Hanjian, it seems that my husband will teach you a lesson tonight." Ye Chen picked up Xuanhuan and put her on the bed. "As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible." Author, New Di. Chapter 200. Xuanhuan looked at Ye Chen, her heart pounding, her beautiful face full of shyness. "My husband, even if the mountains are gone and the sky and the earth are united, I will never break up with you," Xuanhuan said affectionately. This is the poem Ye Chen wrote for her. Now she said it out loud, perfectly revealing her state of mind. Ye Chen kissed her. The moonlight quietly hid in the clouds. In the deepest part of Xuanhuan's soul, a powerful force quickly emerged. In the blink of an eye, another beautiful woman appeared next to Xuanhuan. She surprisingly possessed the aura of the 8th level of the Great Emperor. "Xuanhuan, I gave you a chance to leave Ye Chen. If you don't obey, he will die. The woman spoke indifferently. Nirvana finger. The beautiful woman said, and pointed her slender jade finger at Ye Chen. This finger had the attack power of the early stage of the semi-saint. The cultivation of the 8th level of the Great Emperor, without using treasures, the attack power reached the early stage of the semi-saint, extremely powerful. This finger is enough to make everything annihilate. Can kill millions of people instantly. Ye Chen's cultivation level was only the 7th level of the Great Emperor, and such an attack was completely enough to kill a figure of the 7th level of the Great Emperor. Break. Ye Chen made a move. Before the finger of annihilation fell on Ye Chen, the woman who made the move was instantly pierced with several holes by the powerful sword energy. Most of the power dissipated. The holes on the woman who appeared were restored, but her cultivation level dropped sharply to the level of the God King. You are the strong man who invaded Hanjian's dream. In this way, a lot of power was hidden in Hanjian's body. What do you want to do? Ye Chen said coldly. The woman's cultivation level dropped greatly, but her expression was still arrogant, as if the gods were looking at mortals. In this world, you actually have the strength of a semi-saint, which is very good. It's a pity that a semi-saint is just an ant in my eyes. Luo Hanjian is favored by me, you can't break her body, I won't allow it. The woman said arrogantly. Ye Chen said in a deep voice, I have the support of the Angzi Demon Emperor. Tell me who you are. Hanjian is my wife. It is natural for me to sleep with Hanjian. Angzi Demon Emperor. Her strength is not bad, but when she comes to me, she can only bow her head and obey my orders. The woman said disdainfully, Luo Hanjian, you abolished the Emperor and Empress, and you will no longer have contact from now on. I don't have to kill him, otherwise he will die in my hands sooner or later. Ye Chen frowned secretly. The Angzi Demon Emperor can come now, her strength should still be very strong. This woman's strength is much higher than that of the Angzi Demon Emperor. I am afraid she is the top existence in the Holy Demon Realm. Who are you? You can't be more powerful than the Angzi Demon Emperor. Ye Chen said in a deep voice. The woman said indifferently, I am the leader of the forgetful demon cult, with millions of followers, and everyone has the strength of the original world saint level. Any one of them can kill you like killing a chicken. Luo Hanjian was shocked. Ye Chen's eyes flashed, you invaded through dreams, why? The woman frowned and said, Ye Chen, you talk too much. Ye Chen said coldly, if you don't want to say it, don't say it. I have something else to do after I kill you. The woman snorted. I just want to let Luo Hanjian know that as long as her strength goes up, the saints are all ants. Tell her not to get entangled with you, you are not worthy. Luo Hanjian, you cooperate with me and help me get something in the original world. I can absorb you to become the saint of our Wangqing demon sect in the future. If not, you will die, and Ye Chen will die too. Ye Chen sneered, Wangqing sect master, don't scare people here, it will take a long time for the holy demon realm to come back. The woman said indifferently, it will take a long time for the holy demon realm to come back, but before that, the strong men of the holy demon realm can come here. What's your mere half-saint level strength in the future? Besides, if the channel between the two worlds is opened, the strong men of the holy demon realm can come directly. Ye Chen secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He was just deliberately trying to trick the other party. From what Wangqing sect master said, he still has time to grow. Ye Chen sneered, you are very powerful, and you have only the 7th level of the Great Emperor when you descended. It will take a long time for many powerful people to descend and have the strength of a semi-saint. The woman stared at Ye Chen, you are trying to trick me. You are not the one of the Demon Emperor of Rest. Ye Chen, you are a little smart. But what's the use in the face of absolute strength? Ye Chen thought it was a pity. He wanted to get more information, but she saw through it. Ye Chen said in a deep voice, Master Wang Qing, don't try to get Hanjian anymore. If you want to descend, you can find others. If you want to find the secret of immortality, we can cooperate on this. Cooperation. The woman was disdainful. Ye Chen, either you leave obediently, or you will all die. When it comes to the secret of immortality, she will never cooperate with Ye Chen. Control Luo Hanjian and let Luo Hanjian find the secret of immortality for her, this is safe. Still scaring me? Ye Chen slapped her. Pa. The clone of the forgetful sect leader was weak and was slapped away by Ye Chen. Hanjian, just a little episode, let's continue, hee hee. Ye Chen got into the quilt. Luo Hanjian looked at Ye Chen. Husband, I am willing to give myself to you, but what if the forgetful sect leader really kills you in the future? Luo Hanjian's eyes were full of worry. Luo Hanjian actually didn't care that much whether she died or not. If Ye Chen hadn't given her the guardian ring, she would have died long ago. But she didn't want anything to happen to Ye Chen. Hanjian, if she becomes our enemy, it's not certain who will kill whom in the future. Ye Chen's eyes flashed, he was a loser. The growth rate of the strength of the cheat cannot be calculated based on common sense. Hanjian, let's hurry up and get down to business, hee hee. A few minutes later, Luo Hanjian groaned. Ye Chen was excited, Luo Hanjian finally became his woman. The next day, Luo Hanjian did not go to court early. It wasn't that she was injured and couldn't go to bed early, she simply enjoyed the feeling of staying in bed with Ye Chen. After 3 poles in the sun, the two of them got up. Nangongning and Natasha were stunned when they saw Luo Hanjian, who was radiant. Luo Hanjian was already the queen of the country, but now she feels even more beautiful and appetizing. Your Majesty, there is something important. Nangongning said, the ambassadors of Thousand Island Kingdom, Ota Empire, Xiannu Empire, Southern Zhao Kingdom and other countries jointly accused the Empress of the domineering behavior. Many people from the Thousand Island country are already demonstrating in Tianyang Imperial City, and there are a large number of people from the Thousand Island country in other places in our Tianyang Empire coming over. Some people from other countries have also joined the march, and the number is expected to increase rapidly. The Tianyang dynasty was so powerful that it attracted many people from surrounding countries to live in the Tianyang dynasty. The total number of foreigners in the Tianyang Imperial City alone was 500,000 to 600,000. It is small compared to the total population of Tianyang Imperial City, but the absolute number is not small. Natasha also said, Your Majesty, Commander Ding, Prime Minister Wei and others estimate that the number of people marching today will exceed 300,000, and the number of people marching tomorrow is likely to exceed 1 million. Luo Hanjian said coldly, send the order and all those participating in the parade will be deported. Let Commander Ding check if there is an organizer. The organizer will be sentenced to death for espionage. Nangongning and Natasha were shocked. Luo Hanjian's treatment was extremely cruel. Ye Chen is simply the opposite of Luo Hanjian.